Congratulations to Lee Pitts Live, recipient of the NAACP Image Award.
Welcome back, Southwest Florida. If you can see me wearing a red tie, you know I don't care too much for red because I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. But if I want to pay homage to the Don, Charles Dailey, I have to wear red. Kappas, don't try. You failed in undergrad. You tried the recruitment. You failed. But I still like you guys anyway. So without further ado, let me bump in the Kappa of all Kappas. Hey, how you like having the colors on this cup right here? That's your colors, man.
Lee, you did that purposely.
Charles Dailey. Too much is given. What?
Much is required. You know, Lee, before we get started, there's something that I know it's your show.
All right, take over.
But I got to do what I have to do. It was such an honor and you didn't know I was going to do this, but it was such an honor to learn that one of our universities,
Hodges,
that they recognized you by naming their student union building after you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so pleased and so very, very proud of your accomplishment. And I just wanted to take this time on your show that I took over.
You're embarrassing me, man.
But
I'm blushing.
But
I appreciate it.
It just goes to show, to whom much is given, much is required. And as one of my dear friends, Rose Govan, says, it doesn't have to go where you start, it's just where you end. And we are very, very proud of what you're doing and what you have done in this community. God bless you.
Appreciate that, man. It's the highest honor that can be paid to me to get that kind of recognition from Hodges University, Lee Pitts Student Union Center. Now, Charles Dailey, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's go back, Charles, to the first time me and you met. First time I met you, you don't remember it, man, but you were impactful on my life, man. You came to me and you say, hey, I'm recruiting minority teachers to come to Southwest Florida. That's one of the things I'm doing. We're going to have a social get-together for some of those teachers when they come here, and they'll know that there's some young professionals here, and they may decide to stay in Southwest Florida. You were doing that as a part of your job with Lee County. You were responsible for a lot of the diversity that has happened in the Lee County school system. Reflect back on those times and what you were trying to accomplish and why. Was it related to the desegregation or what was that, where the school was under the court order?
The federal court order.
Right.
Well, there's several things, Lee. I think that I'm a firm believer that the school district should resemble what the population of its special population, of its constituency. And I think that part of the court order at that time, we had no minority representation. We're still very poor at that now. We're better, but we're still very poor.
This was just for people for historic purposes. This was around 1996.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
when me and you first met.
We first met, and so we've been recruiting for that period of time. There was a 7-year period that we didn't do anything, but I felt that it was vital, it was necessary for students to see the population, our diverse population, as it relates to faculty administration, supervision. I'm talking about directors of cafeterias, directors of maintenance, across the board.
Right.
It has to be just not located for teachers, but we have to have an impact across the entire district if we're going to be a diverse and a world-class system.
Now, you couldn't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think now Lee County Schools has moved from under that court order, and you were part of ushering Lee County School District out of that court order. Is it a good thing now that the district is no longer being monitored by the courts?
Well, I would have to say it's always a good thing to come from under the jurisdiction of the courts as well as the Justice Department, because we were under two. I think the important thing is that we have to do what's right. It's all about doing what's right. And we have to continue to recruit. We just had an accreditation team from Advanced Ed that came in, and one of the opportunities for improvement that was listed was an opportunity that says that we must become more diverse. We must improve our diversity in the area of teachers, administrators across the district, and that's what we're attempting to do now.
Let's talk about that. You're in the inner workings of that world. The average person who's listening to you on television now, they don't know anything about that world. So when those accreditations come down, not only for Lee County school system, but for school systems in general, people need to know that at the state level, the federal level, there's always a look into diversity issues as it relates to a school district.
Well, across the board, you know, when you're saying that that your district, your schools need to be accredited, then they're looking at the entire picture. That what they're saying is that what you say you're doing, this team comes in and validates those things that you say that you are doing. If in fact they look at your minority percentage in your district, then they're also looking at your minority percentage in terms of your teaching positions, administrative positions, and if they find that it warrants a recommendation, you have 2 years in which to improve that. But if it's an opportunity for improvement, it means that you must take advantage of that opportunity and improve that situation so that your staffs, your school district is a more diverse place to work.
Okay, now, people sitting here listening to you, I'm listening to you, I'm like, okay, this guy here needs to be sitting up there on that lack of diverse school board, that we don't have a voice in. Lee County government, that's another story, that there's no minorities there, but that's another story. We'll get to that one day on Lee Pitts Live. You can be assured of that. We are watching. Lee County School District School Board has no minority, no African Americans in particular in there. And one of the reasons that people cite is that you have to be elected at large. That meaning that the whole county has to vote for you, even if you're in a large minority district, to be elected to the school board. And that's difficult for minority candidates. Why is that difficult?
Well, I think that the way the current boundaries are drawn, it does not allow for that type of diversiveness. I think now, single member district, it has been voted on and approved by the constituency. That tells me one great thing. That tells me that our citizens in Lee County are clearly saying that yes, we need to diversify. Yes, we need to make sure that there's representation on that board.
Did that surprise you that the constituency, the general voting population of Lee County, would recognize that and vote that way?
Not at all. Not at all. It didn't surprise me at all.
Surprised me, by the way.
It didn't surprise me because I know that good overcomes those things that are not every single time. And I know that in this county we have good individuals that are fair and that are equitable. And that when it comes down and when they go inside the booth and those curtains are closed, they will do what's right. And in this particular case, they clearly voted to add 2 seats to that board. Hopefully, they will be seats that will be representative of minorities that would diversify a much-needed school board.
And this is not uncommon to go the single member district route in an effort to, it's not necessarily so, but an effort to have more minority participation. This happens in other school districts around the country.
Absolutely.
And Lee County is sort of late to the ball game in that sense.
Well, I tend to say it's better late than never.
Okay.
Because we're there. It starts 2016. There's a person that has an opportunity to run for a 4-year term. Then there's the opportunity for a person to run for a 2-year term. And so, but let it be known, as I have said to you before, here on Lee Pitts Live, I have every intention of running for the school board during that particular time.
Okay, now I was going to ask you that question so I can break news, but I'm going to come back to that because I want to give you another opportunity as a great educator in many capacities in the Lee County school system. And your background with all of those different places you worked in the Lee County school system is certainly going to serve you well as our next school board representative. I believe in that. Now, but I want you to take your education right now and Sesame Street this for us. What does single member district mean? Sesame Street, for the average person, what does that mean?
All means all. All means all.
Mm-hmm.
That means everybody has an opportunity to be involved in the process. Everybody has an opportunity to get involved in the process. There is equity in terms of the selection process, which allows an individual who looks like me, who looks like you, who looks like another, to become involved in that process that has been segregated for over the past 40 or 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
All means all.
What now? You have already announced right here on Lee Pitts Live, breaking news, that you're going to run for the Lee County School District, one of those single member districts. What district would that be? Talk to us about that.
That's an at-large district, Lee.
Okay.
It's an at-large. So that means that it is a county-wide position.
Really?
The districts will remain as they are. But this at-large seat would remain in fact, let's say I decided to run for a 2-year piece. Then that position would come up in 2016. And that means that's a 2-year term. Then the next position, the next time that would come up would be 2018. If the person, in fact, applied and ran for a position for the 4-year term, then that means that person's position would come up in 2018. But they are countywide seats that individuals have the opportunity to run for.
Now, the fact that you are a sitting principal right now at the historic Dunbar Community School, a beacon in our community, what has to take place for you to run for school board?
Well, I think the first thing that has to take place is that I have to be committed and dedicated to show that that I'm interested in, and I'm committed to want to make a change. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I've got to go out and talk with people, to let people know of my issues and my concerns. And what can I do? It's not my issue. That's where I think we go wrong. We tend to concentrate on what the issue of the candidate is, rather than working on what the issues of our of our constituency. So once we find out what their issues are, and then able to have conversations, then I think then we're able to do some things.
The retirement process has to take place as well?
No, I don't have to. I can't be employed when if I'm able to be victorious.
Okay.
But the real issue is, breaking news again, is that
oh, don't say it, Charles.
On October,
say it ain't so.
Oh, on October the 15th of 2015, I will be retiring from 31 years, 31 years and a half with the Lee County School District.
That drop got to be looking good then.
Well, I'm not in drop.
You're not in drop?
No, because my issue is that if you turn 62 and you hit 30 at the same time, it's not necessary.
Okay.
So it's time that I'm able to look up and reach out and help someone else.
Okay, because too much is go ahead.
To whom much is given, much is definitely required.
Okay, I was going to announce it, but I'm going to let you announce this as well at Dunbar Community School on what's going to be happening on December 17th.
On December 17th at Dunbar Community School from 9 until 1, we're having a job fair. We've got over 20 jobs that will be available, 20 companies that are going to be there right at Dunbar. And we're inviting the community across this entire district to come in. If you're looking for a job, you know, we always say we can't find jobs. If you're looking for a job, then we invite you to come over to Dunbar Community School to be a part of the job fair.
Well, Charles, we appreciate you coming on the show. Also appreciate you not wearing any red this time. Let me wear the red, our kappa on our show. And, of course, I'll be right out there stomping for you when it's time for you to be elected, okay?
Thank you.
Let's bump you out. As an homage to the Don. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Charles Dailey, a next school board member. I feel confident about that. Who's doing it? We come back, we'll talk to City Councilman Johnny Street right here on Lee Pitts Live.